You see this hat? You see this jacket? I'm a nice presenting woman. I'm hungry. I want to be the best. If I have 2 days, if I have 24 hours, I'm going to work my hardest to make the best performance because I want to be the best. Period.
So many artists have broken through in the last few years, but there's something special about the rapper Doechii. Going from working at Chipotle to being Kendrick Lamar's favorite artist right now. While she's been exponentially blowing up and catching people's attention since 2020, she has a key trait that sets her apart from the crowd, and she's approaching a territory of artists that only a few people have been able to hold. She credits one book she read as the turning point for her that blew her up weeks after reading it.
And actually the best part about it is that she documented and videotaped the entire process.
Good morning, guys.
To understand Doechii's blow up, we have to go back to before everything started. Doechii, or Jayla Hickman, born and raised in Tampa, Florida, which you'll see has heavily influenced her entire aesthetic and sound. She attended Howard W. Blake High School, your typical Florida school, and grew up in a family of creatives. Her earliest dreams were to be a part of a choir, but she ultimately always wanted to be a musician. With this, she also had big dreams of being a YouTuber, posting vlogs, video diaries, and covers. There wasn't a clear idea what she wanted to be through YouTube, but you saw the early makings of someone who's creative and has a million ideas, but just doesn't know where to hone it. One day she'd upload a cover, the next a vlog of her normal life, and the next a how-to on some random subject. Doechii had a million ideas and was always sharing the next thing with her community. Her audience wasn't big, but you can tell she cared about these videos, often pouring her heart out and being extremely vulnerable and honest.
Something that's actually pretty unusual nowadays on YouTube.
Documenting an incredible amount of her life pre-fame. But even with all this, she was working normal jobs like Chipotle and even made a video showing people how to get hired there. But even if you take away hindsight and with the success she has now, there was one thing that stood out in the earliest forms of Doechii.
She really valued being unapologetically honest, and everything she put out, she wanted it to be real and authentic.
I'll be doing it regardless of my audience's presence anyway. Whether or not anybody was watching, regardless, I'm going to be making things.
Create something that you think is good and your fans will follow. A trait some of the best artists have.
The audience comes last. The audience only knows what's come before.
So many people focus in on views and numbers and forget to create something original and authentic. Doechii still had this value, even if the viewership numbers weren't where she wanted them to be yet. But every person's journey has moments of struggle and doubt. Doechii really seemed destined for success from the beginning. Everything seemed to be heading in the right path. She was talented, had a good mindset, and had a good work ethic. She went on to release her debut mixtape, The Coven Music Sessions Volume 1, a 9-song mixtape that she wrote and recorded on her own dime in an independent label. And just watching the promo for this album, you can tell she really cared about it. But despite having the right work ethic, the right mindset, and the right talent, the numbers just weren't there. Even if it's for the art and you're ignoring the audience, when success doesn't follow, it can get discouraging. Feeling like you're moving backwards sometimes towards your goals is human. And Doechii, despite the positivity and despite where she is now, is no different. And in 2019, she uploaded this YouTube video.
I feel like everybody's life is better without me in it. And I feel like my life sucks. And I participate in self-help courses and books to scapegoat the fact that my career isn't progressing. I fear that I'm at a standstill because I don't feel like my projects are moving fast enough for my audience.
After years of working at it, she's feeling something that everyone has felt at some point, self-doubt. She's clearly unhappy with how the audience has received her music. She does clarify that she was only in a dark moment and she doesn't feel this way all the time, but it shows that you could be doing everything right, but still things might not go your way. And for Doechii, it seemed like a breakthrough was around the corner. However, it's just about to get worse.
So I got fired today. We're just gonna go in. Studios, record label companies, like, I'm just gonna go in and ask, who gives a fuck? At this point, I have nothing to lose. I literally have nothing to lose. I have no place. I have no job. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Who fucking cares? I'm just gonna do it. I'll let you know how that goes.
The coronavirus has just hit New York fucking City, so everybody is basically dead and getting quarantined as we speak.
Shortly after COVID hit, she moved back home to Tampa with her family, dead set on becoming a full-time artist, no matter what it took.
The whole year she'd spend her whole time making music and learning about creativity. Barely enough to make it by, she'd use all of her unemployment checks to fund her music, whether it's actually recording or making the music videos. And as an independent artist, she had no help outside of this. But as her checks started to run out, time was ticking before she needed to figure out how she was going to pay for her bills. She was trying to make it big while also finding herself as an artist.
I just want to chase my dreams. I just want to be like, oh my God, I'm following my dreams. But I can't because, bitch, you have to have rent. It's fucking up everything. It's fucking up everything. It's fucking up my creative process, my inspiration and shit. Like, God damn it.
Stuck inside, she seemed unable to connect with her audience on a level she wanted and didn't have the money to do it either.
My YouTube career is in fucking shambles. Like, bitch, nobody is here.
There seems to be something missing to help her blow up because she has everything it takes. Until a simple walk down the street changed her entire life.
I'm intentionally doing these, and I want to start doing them in a way where it's almost like I'm talking to my future self. I'm talking to you, Jayla.
She'd upload this video unknowingly marking the beginning of her rise. She describes walking down the street on a normal day and seeing a pile of books.
Being an avid reader, she looked through them, finding things such as a John Lennon book. But one of these books stood out. It was called The Artist's Way.
I was just drawn to it for some reason, so I picked it up and started reading it. It's a course in discovering and recovering your creative self.
She'd go through this book, documenting every week in the updates to her creative journey. The book goes into detailed steps to return to the creative level of your inner child. Being a 12-week course, it has affirmations, homework assignments, and self-reflections to help revive your inner creativity. And most importantly, forces you to be honest with your art in a way most people have never even considered.
But the reason why I bring up this book and why it's so important to her is because it would inspire her to write her next song.
After finishing the 12-week course, she'd get to work, and about 5 months after, she finished her song Yucky Bucky Fruitcake, using her last unemployment check to independently create the music video and song. If this song doesn't get any attention again, who knows what she'd have to do.
After releasing it in September, just like her last EP, it was more of the same reaction. Her dedicated fans enjoyed it, but outside of that, it wasn't getting much traction. But once it got to April, something crazy happened.
After being used only twice on 2 different videos, by the end of the month, over 50,000 videos had used her song, making it an undeniable viral hit, giving her the moment she had been working towards for years. Just before I made Yucky Bucky Fruitcake, I was in a place where I was really afraid. I just felt creatively blocked. I just wasn't able to produce great work. I read this book called The Artist's Way. It really inspired me to get extremely honest in my music. I was never very personal. I made songs that I thought other people would enjoy, and I avoided talking about myself or my experiences growing up because I didn't really think it mattered. But after reading that book, I just felt extremely inspired to be really honest in my music.
Creating something like this was always something she possessed, and she always labeled herself as honest and authentic on YouTube, but she just needed that extra push to go to the next level. The explosion of streams helped her get a ton of attention for her EP, Oh, the Places You'll Go, and catapulted her into getting a look from every major record label outside of Sony. She eventually signed with TDE in 2022 because they were willing to give her the most independence with her music. She didn't forget what got her here and didn't want to lose that. Soon after this, she collaborated with SZA, riding this wave of growth. She'd release her successful song Crazy, be featured on Colors, release an EP, and eventually be featured on the 2022 XXL Freshman list. But it's not even close what she'd achieved the next following years. In 2023, Doechii would release the song What It Is, a song sitting at almost 400,000 streams in just over a year, her most streamed song to date. She performed at Coachella that same year and opened for Doja Cat's Scarlet Tour. And in 2024, she released her mixtape Alligator Bites Never Heal, an album that has taken her into the mainstream spotlight. This album was nominated for the Best Rap Album of the Year at the Grammys, had a viral Tiny Desk concert. Artists such as SZA, Hayley Williams, and Billie Eilish have all co-signed her, and famously, Kendrick Lamar said she was the hardest out right now. This is a lot of achievements for someone just a few years ago was completely lost and thought their audience wasn't gravitating to their music. Now, this isn't an ad for this book, and honestly, I don't know if everyone will gravitate to this book the same way, but what I thought was more important was that if you're in a creative field or you just create for fun, some of the most successful artists who have a fairy tale story have had their bumps along the way. And if during COVID she quit music completely and went back to working a regular job, we wouldn't be seeing the 2024 version of Doechii. Personally, I was going through her older videos and just seeing someone who was pre-fame just trying to make it, and it really inspired me because it showed that anyone's breakthrough could be just one song or even just reading one book away from breaking through. Thank you so much for watching. Again, this is not an ad, but if you do want to buy this book, I'm going to put the link in the description. I'm going through it right now and it's pretty interesting, but thanks for watching.